Hey everybody, it's Tyler with Gaia Force Gaming, and I am here with my friend Ben, or as you may know him, Airborne. Say hi, Ben.
Hello, everyone. It's been a
Uh,
while.
and we are here to talk about a pretty interesting deck. If you guys have looked at the gameplay videos on the channel, Ben has been playing and testing this deck, and it piqued my interest. So I built it and played it at locals, and now we're here to talk about it. You have anything you want to say before we get into the list, Ben?
Yeah, this deck was surprisingly stronger than I anticipated. And I will say the engine in it is something that I feel like has been often overlooked. It's gotten a lot of key pieces in it that allow it to turn decks more into a glass cannon and help keep up in this, I wouldn't necessarily say high tempo format, but it's a very costly format where if you don't see your pieces immediately, you may lose to the person that does. And so it helps speed up the decks a lot faster and give them, in this case, more explosive firepower, as well as being able to just have cards that simultaneously remove bumps that get in the way, aka floodgates.
Yeah, the deck is super fun, especially if you remember that Koji becomes unblockable, because I didn't remember that. I played the entire 4 rounds and top 4 cut without that. So, but the deck still performed super well. I guess without any more stalling, we could talk about what's in the deck. So the red engine that we speak of is, I guess we didn't give away the deck. The deck is a red engine blue hybrid deck. In Japan, we saw the red engine get mixed with yellow hybrid a lot, and here in America, we prefer the blue hybrids.
I will say that in BT4, I think this all started with me having an obsession over an Ancient Garuru Turbo deck with Atomic Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
I think I recorded and deleted the deck profile for that deck, I think 5 or 6 separate times, so it never actually hit YouTube. But people that did watch my streams and played with me in tournament knew of me playing the deck.
Yes. So, the red base, the thing that kind of makes the engine go burr, it starts with the EX02 Guilmon eggs, the one where if you have Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon in your name, you draw a card. And the promo Guilmon, which is something, oop, that's a big glare. Something Japan got a little bit later than us, which is why it took them a while to kind of get into this. So the promo Guilmon, when attacking, draw 1. So essentially, if you evolve over the egg, you are drawing 2 every time you attack with it, which is a lot of card draw for like poke damage. And then we also run the 4 Guilmon X just for more filter. Say this Guilmon survives and you want to dig a little deeper, you could evolve over it for free, draw again, or if you just need to draw 1 with the red egg, red rookie, still has Guilmon as name, so that goes off. This is the, I would say, the base of the engine.
Yeah.
So it unlocks red options, which is what you're really going for here, and adds draw power to any deck. And in this case, the red options that we went with that are pretty universal for other decks as well were 4 Fireball and just sort of more draw power, 2 Hero of the Sky. So these are all just 2 memory, draw 2. For most of the time. Fireball sometimes removes, a memory blocker or similar floodgate, a little search rookie. But for the most part, these are just draw 2.
Right.
Do you have anything to say about just the red engine that you could pretty much plug into any deck that doesn't need rookies?
Yeah, so basically this base has essentially usurped the blue base entirely for these multicolored decks where oftentimes the base is segregated from the actual main block of the deck, essentially, where back then we only saw the 4 jamming Demi Vmon babies with 4 jamming Vmon, and then some combination of other rookies with Kaiser Nails, generally because those were more higher value decks, and so you couldn't afford to run things like Hammer Spark that would necessarily extend your plays, because generally a lot of your plays were high memory. This is more of a efficient, aggressive base that actually provides more draw power than blue. Red being the draw deck now is kind of ironic, but we definitely see just a lower curve, more higher octane style aggressive deck that can come out of this to help us combat with the OTK decks in the format.
Yeah, and for the, what was it, BT7? When Blue Hybrid was a thing, like
Yes.
Digifest meta, your rookie slots and eggs were blue for convenience sake, but you very rarely evolved from your rookie. You just dropped the floodgate and let it sit on board and then swung with it. So this is just a replacement for floodgates, and you're trading the stall for your opponent for like aggression for you, like more tempo in your favor. So we took this, well, you took this, I took it from you. You took this and paired it with Blue Hybrid. So the rest of the list, as far as the main Digimon go, the list I ended up with from what you shared was 3 Bokomon, and we had a flex spot that I ended up going with Strabi. We'll explain that in a second. 1 Lobo, 4 of the Kendo Garurumon, 4 of the Korikakumon, 4 of the Beowulfmon, and 2 Magna Garurumon. So there's just your Blue Hybrid, I guess, Digimon package. And then I guess we'll go with Essential Tamers for Blue Hybrid 2 real quick. We ended up with 4 Davis, 3 Davis, I'm sorry, 4 Koji, and 1 Tommy. We would play more Tommy, but it's at 1 now. So this was the base for the Blue Hybrid that we added in. We didn't have the Strabimon originally, but I think me and you kind of agreed that we wanted to up the hybrid count just for Magna Garurumon plays. If you needed to go Koji into Magna Garurumon, you'd need the 5 in hand. Sometimes that would just get unlocked very quickly. Other than that, there's a lack of Kumamon, and we both kind of agreed on that. What was your reasoning for the lack of Kumamon?
So I actually, when I played at locals yesterday, I kept the just original list that I had, where the only change from the picture that I shared between us, took out the 3rd Magna Garuru for the Strabi. But the main reasoning for us getting rid of Kuma was because the only ways that we have to strip sources in this deck are Kumamon and
Tommy.
The Tommy. And obviously the Tommy is a 1-of, so it's, generally not going to be, you're not going to see it recycled because we're not running Nemon, we're not running Susano to put it back in the deck. We don't want the game to last that long even. So a lot of times, you may see the Tommy, you may not, and the Kumamon is not going to strip sources most of the time. Korikaku is not going to be able to freeze most of the time because of the X antibody. And obviously if X antibody is underneath, then the Kumamon is rendered useless and it's just a 4K body. What matters the most in with these cards, outside of Kendo Garurumon, because that's jamming, which is why it's the best, is because these others have more than 4K. Since we have, an aggressive deck, we want to be able to make sure that our Digimon have the highest chance of living in security. And in the events that we can't get jamming, we can give it 5K, 6K, or, boosts that we'll see in just a second.
So this is just where we ended up. We wanted to add the Blue Hybrid to it to see how it went with the added draw power from Red. And then we bridged the gap a little bit because we do have dual Tamers. We have 2 of the Matt and Sora. I think it could still be Sora and Joe for what it's worth. If you do want to go the Source Strip route, like this could be Sora and Joe. You could run more Kumas. You could like drop probably the Lobo, maybe 2 Korikaku and put in 3 Kumas, but again, the X antibody is what the hang up was there. So we're bridging the red-blue gap with Matt and Sora, and then just we're going with synergies. And we have red options available to us, which are very strong. So you went with 3 Gravity Crush and 3 Atomic Inferno. And these options opened up a lot of really cool plays. So we were talking about the Magna Garurumon with Gravity Crushes. You can get to that so easily and do a lot of big plays. The Atomic Infernos with the jamming, even if it's just one and you don't have jamming, a 9k for 2 checks is really, really strong. And yeah, do you have anything to add about the red options that we chose to go with besides, of course, the draw power options?
Yeah, so I guess we should probably back up and just talk about the synergies with Koji and the card draw engine entirely.
Yes, that is true.
Matt Sora, obviously, Matt Sora is ironically crazy in this deck because you just hit 8 cards, sometimes
so
9
fast.
cards by turn 2.
So fast.
Yeah, like most of the times, the start of the game you'll go Digivolve into Guilmon and just play Fireball, pass them to 2, and you want them to give you 1 because it's just like it almost feels like you can just like mock them back
by hitting another Fireball or another hero.
Yeah, or Digivolve into Guilmon X and pop it for free and then swing and still get your draw. There's just so many ways to just not care about the floodgates, not care about the rookies that they're using to search, and still get your aggression going. But the Koji is just insane with this deck because the way the Inheritable reads, it says when an effect adds a card to your hand. So that's when you add Beowulf to hand, added the champion to hand underneath Beowulf for the effect. That's when you draw off Fireball, when you draw off Hero in the Skies, when you draw off Swinging with Guilmon, when you play Bokomon, when you play Strabimon, when you play Davis, when you bounce with Magna, and then Magna restands one of your Digimon. Doesn't have to be itself, so you could even swing again with the Guilmon and get a second draw if it managed to live in security. There is all sorts of crazy. Oh, and not to mention, if you restand a Beowulf, it's not once per turn when attacking. So if you Digivolve Kendo into Beo, you can bounce 2 Digimon with it. There's just so much insane synergy just because the card draw works with Koji's effect. Being able to pass to the opponent's turn with a Fireball, even though you were at 0 memory, being able to extend turns, and then the Gravity Crushes just. I frustrated a lot of my friends just being able to slap down triple Gravity Crush, which actually is kind of consistent even though there's 3 in the deck. Because as long as it's not security, you're most likely to draw it off of just the massive amount of card draw that you have in the deck. And then you just go into Magna, restand, drop 2 Atomic Infernos, and just make your opponent cry. And if they even get the chance to block, Atomic Inferno says you gain 3 memory. But the Kendo Garurumon the Koji Inheritable makes them unblockable. The Kendo makes them have jamming. It just all comes together into this just counter punch of a deck.
And then we also had 1 slot left. There's a couple flex spots, but we had like 1 true flex spot where we're like, oh, do we up the Magnet count? Do we up the Strabi count? We're like, what do we do with this last spot? We did think about Susano for a minute, but I did end up going with Death X, which came up a lot actually in the locals because you hit your 1-up so often because you're drawing so many cards that it turns out like as long as it's not in security, when you need it, you have it.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that you can even, if you want to get cheeky with it, if you feel like you get the Magna Garurumon on board consistently enough, you can run the Blitz Omni. I was running Crimson Blaze in mine out of fear of Bloom Lord or other decks. Just having that the 1 security bomb so that they may lure themselves into a false sense of security. They didn't see the Atomic Infernos in the security, and they saw Gravity Crushes, so they were expecting more Gravity Crushes, for instance. It also just helps turn the tide for memory efficiency to keep tempo on board. There's just a lot of different things you can do with the deck. I definitely wanted to get a 3rd Magnet in here just because being able to bounce Megas consistently is very effective, and a lot of times you can make it 3 memory, sometimes 2 memory, sometimes nothing if you have the Boko on board.
Yeah.
There's just so much crazy stuff.
The thing about Magna is I found, I only played it 1 event, which was 6 rounds total, like 4 Swiss, and then single elimination top 4. I think I only went to Magna once, maybe all day. Just because I would end up winning before that would be the best play. Like usually to spend the 4 memory, it would be more beneficial to go into 2 hybrids for me. Or like even like like there were plenty of times where a better line of play instead of swinging twice with the Magna would be like becoming jamming with Kendo, like or even if it's not Koji, like evolving over with a Korikaku and then a Kendo to get the jamming, and then Atomic Inferno and swing for like 2 checks jamming.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the cool thing about this deck is these synergies are like really intuitive, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So like, man, I like just swinging with Beowulf 10k 2 checks and gaining the memory back with Koji. Like I did that all night.
And getting rid of a body at the same time.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of really cool things you could do. Again, I wish I remembered about becoming unblockable, because I think there were a lot of plays that I made trying to play around blockers, or like I lost to Examon in top because I was like, man, I can't let him get to Examon because he's just gonna have a blocker that can block twice. What do I do then? Just foolish. So foolish. But I think that just comes with my limited testing with the deck. I think it's a shame that you made the deck and I discovered it through you so late into the format, because I could have had a lot of fun with this the same way I had a lot of fun with Beelstar.
And what's funny with the deck though is that it's not necessarily it's not like I was in an echo chamber and, you know, in the lab by myself trying to just like brew a deck like this. I was inspired by several other decks that I saw that were running the red base. Mm-hmm. And as, you know, the mad scientist that I am, I'm always trying to experiment to see what other decks can capitalize on this kind of thinking. So, you know, we saw this in Yellow Hybrid in Japan. What inspired me to go down this whole rabbit hole was seeing a Machine Dramon deck in BT11 onward running the red base, and, you know, just taking advantage of, they have analog man so that they're never choked at 1 memory, but they still have the draw engine to be able to see all the pieces, and they run EX2 Guilmon instead of Guilmon X to make sure that they're still milling cards at the same time or popping floodgates or whatever, since Machine Dramon can get ruined by the play cost reduction floodgates. And then one of my buddies, shout outs to Thomas from my local scene, actually brought the red base with purple hybrid. And a lot of people have been experimenting with that deck list, and that's kind of what inspired this, because blue hybrid was always my baby. It doesn't matter if it was oppressive or not. I always play with the Magna package. I always play with Ancient Garuru package. Always loved it. If it's not good boys, it's blue hybrid for me. So I tried it with this deck, and I was just doing it for fun, and just kind of somehow synergized better than the other hybrids. It's so weird. Even green hybrid.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, you know, we had the green hybrid deck with the red base, very popular in America. We have the yellow hybrid deck with the red base, which was really popular in Japan. Unfortunately, because of ban and limited lists, it didn't really take off here as much, because we couldn't abuse the Jet Sylphie the same way.
Or Sunrise Buzz.
Or Sunrise Buzz. Well, Sunrise we had for a little bit longer. It was the Jet Sylphie hit that really took it out for us. But this felt really powerful. This felt not as oppressive as blue hybrid in that format, but even, like, do you think next format in BT11 this still has legs? Like, do you think this could compete?
So what has me concerned
is Black War Greymon.
Yeah, 100%. Black War Greymon, just I've already complained about it to my wife, by the way. They just Black War Greymon X. Not only, you don't even need to worry about it having the BT8 Greymon underneath to have a blocker. It has a stupid effect that says when your opponent attacks with Digimon with the highest DP, you can redirect that attack to Black War Greymon. It does not count as a block, so Koji cannot prevent it from happening.
And you don't gain the memory
even if
from Atomic.
Yeah.
So that's rough too.
Right, and it's not going to be easy. Like, you have to get Magna Garuru out onto the board and then pump it up at least once. It depends on how many boosts they have on the opponent's turn in order to prevent all that happening. And then the other Black War Greymon effect that this is the one that keeps me up at night is when a Digimon unsuspends, you may delete your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost.
Yeah, so that's the rough one.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if it's a Digimon unsuspending during the unsuspend phase. It doesn't matter if he's restanding with Reboot. It doesn't matter if you're restanding with Full Force Veedramon, Metal Garurumon X, Magna Garurumon. So you have to have a Chump Blocker or Boko or Guillemon, some sort of fodder on board in order to take advantage of the restand effect there. And then pray that Hades forces an insecurity and deletes your Digimon with the highest play cost. So...
Yeah, for sure. But... that being
and
said,
then have all your tamers deleted with Hades Force.
That being said, maybe it's not the best deck to get sweaty for Nats, but if you have some events that are still BT10 before Nats, or EX3 format BT10 EX3, you want to play something fun, let me tell you, people at locals, they all wanted this list. Everyone's like, oh, I want to try this. This looks fun. And people didn't really know how to play against it. People, it was just a good time. I had a lot of fun with this deck.
I forgot to mention, speaking of Miami with how oppressive Blue Hybrid was, if you remember the day before, there was a win-a-case tournament at PPG, and I managed to sneak in last minute since you and Megan thankfully brought me along. I tested out a smokescreen idea that I wanted to try, where if you've seen in other card games, decks with side decks often have smoke screens. Instead of running a normal side deck, I tested out a red package with Takuyas, Atomic Infernos, Nemons, and
Emperor Greymon. Yeah, it wasn't the time.
Yeah,
it wasn't ready.
It wasn't the time, but the first time when everyone saw me play down the Takuya into double Atomic Inferno against the yellow hybrid player, there was gasps across the room.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And even though I lost, it was hilarious. Actually, no. Time,
It was a good time. But I mean, a big part of this is, people saw the gameplay videos. They wanted the deck list. They want to see, because it's interesting. It's very cool. But I think part of it too is don't be afraid to try new things. Even when the format's stale, even if it goes against what most people be like, oh, you're gonna try that. What if it's not good? Just try it. Try it at locals. Try it with your buddies. Because on paper, I thought this was gimmicky. And I was like, I'll try it. I like gimmicky decks. And then I played it, and it was, with no testing, forgetting a full effect the entire night, I ended up coming top 4, only losing out one game. That's crazy. And I'm not, skill gapping my locals that hard. I have a very competitive locals. They're all going to Nats. It's a good player base. So, yeah. I mean, you have anything else you want to say to the people about the red package or just deck building in general?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only things I really have to say are don't take what everyone else says, be it a content creator, a figurehead of the community, or even your best friend. Do not take everything that they say as gospel. Be free. Feel free to, try to experiment with other things to be like, okay, if they say this matchup is bad, let me figure out why. It helps to investigate for yourself, to try to get additional perspectives, and it helps to hear outrageous ideas. I mean, part of my deck content train in the past has been just me saying something absolutely outrageous, what if I try Eden's Javelin in Full Force Veedramon? And something hilarious coming out of it, and doing pretty well at a locals. I mean, it's not like it was a major tournament or anything, but it influenced other people to it inspired other people to try similar things and possibly improve on the idea, refine it, turn it into something more competitive, or even apply it to another deck and see where it goes from there. And this format, as stale as it got because of how try-hard everyone got, there was a lot of things that were unexplored because everyone tunnel visioned on trying to win now and win immediately.
Mm-hmm.
That we didn't see a lot of things. A lot of people got blindsided by D-Reaper, for instance, at Gen Con, because we were so fixated on you can only play Alphamon, you can only play Melvin, you can only play Grandis. And, I mean, we even saw a blue hybrid top then, and we thought the deck was dead.
Yeah, the Leomon blue hybrid deck, that was pretty cool. I think a lot of things, too, is if a deck underperforms the set it comes out, not that blue hybrid did that, but if a deck underperforms the set it comes out compared to what people thought, That doesn't mean it's out forever. Like with the D Reaper thing, D Reaper got very few traction in the EX2 meta, but we saw in the BT9, was it BT9? BT9 meta, it did really well. It won a lot of events. So play what you know, play with what you're comfortable with. You know, try other things, become comfortable with things people might not be expecting. I mean, GFG was almost founded on unorthodox decks with Dan Vang's blue-yellow deck in BT 1.0, and then me and Trey using it, and you know, we put Boncho in Imperial, we put Nidhogg in Imperial. We've been doing some weird stuff. But anyway, that's the deck list. It's been on screen for a while, so if that's all you wanted, there it is. And thanks for taking this time to talk about it with me, Ben. Looking forward to doing more videos with people on the team, and really looking forward to Nats.
Absolutely. And you know, anytime you see my face on the screen on the GFG channel, I'm going to be either going to be trying to host a gathering, or you know, I'm going to be trying to inspire you all to think outside of the box. I mean, for the next couple weeks, I might be trying to turn Blackboard Greymon literally into poop. And see if anything comes out of, you know, any gold comes out of that. You know, we're all going to try our stuff. We're all going to experiment. And most importantly, I'm going to have fun. So I hope you all have fun with me.
Heck yes. So again, thank you guys for watching. Do all the things on YouTube that YouTube likes. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.